What is up, Deuterinos? And welcome back to the Game Addicts podcast. I'm your player one, Brando, and joining me here today as a special player two, the one and only Dick Tyner. What's up, man?
Not much, man. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay. It's been a minute here since I've been on the show. If you guys should have got the last episode of the show, it wasn't actually an episode of the show, but I did upload it here. It was an episode of the World Gaming Trade Show with me and my good buddy Jeremy Evans over on the In-Game Boss program. It was an episode talking about what we would do with Chrono Trigger if we brought it back into today's modern gaming world and who we would like to see develop that. Really cool episode. Go check that out if you haven't done so. Chrono Trigger is one of my favorite games of all time. It's up there on the shelf.
I have never played it.
It's an old SNES RPG. Yeah. You have to kind of like RPGs to get into it, but it's really neat. It's one of those games. It was the first ever non-official Square Enix game.
Gotcha.
Back when Square and Enix were two different companies, they came together and they made that game. So it was like an all-star cast. It was like, boom, we're making this game, and then that came out like I don't know, like as if they were if FX, I think FF6 had already been made, and then they made this, and then like people got pulled from the FF7 game to make Chrono Trigger, and then they went back. And so Chrono Trigger was one of the last hurrahs of the SNES era of RPGs.
Gotcha.
And of course, all the characters were designed by Akira Toriyama, so you're feeling right at home with that, of course, Dragon Ball and all that stuff. Anyway, guys, that's a great episode. Today, I know I've got some more deep dives coming your way, and I've been working on those, trying to get those up to where I can actually record them. But last week we had this PlayStation Showcase thing, and I wanted to talk about it because
yeah, we did.
PlayStation hasn't been at E3 for the last 2 years, 3 years, something like that. They've been doing their own things. And right before E3 this year, I think they did a whole state of play with Ratchet and Clank and then the Horizon. Wow. I'm like, it's Forbidden West, but I can't remember the first name of it.
It's okay. There are still people that say Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West. It's just,
no, Zero Dawn was the first one.
Yeah. I've really actually kind of enjoyed this whole new system. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention before, but for me, it seemed like all the news came out before at E3, and then now it seems we're getting it spread out just all year round, and like once a month or every couple weeks, it's like, oh, here's some more games that we're announcing. Then a couple months go by. Hey, remember that game we announced? Here's some more stuff about it. And it's been great. Either that or I'm just paying attention more. I don't know.
But no, I mean, I like it because each of the big players kind of do their own, no pun intended, but they kind of do their own little thing. Nintendo does their Nintendo Directs every single. I mean, they actually go to E3. They have their own little booths and set up. So if you actually go there, you can check stuff out. They have the whole Treehouse event. Microsoft usually has like an adjacent building, not even in the same building anymore. EA has their own different building. They're not in the same building anymore. So I've never been to E3, and it seems like it would be really hectic to go. And there's a lot on the E3 show floor that you don't get to see from the major publisher showcases or anything like that. But because of that, we get a couple Xboxes things a year. We get a couple of PlayStation things and Nintendo, maybe a few others scattered here and there, like a Square Enix update or something like that. Here's a bunch of stuff.
All right.
And especially this
Pokemon.
Pokemon
gets its whole day.
Pokemon gets its own direct for just its stuff. Yeah.
Pokemon Direct.
You see, Nintendo typically only does like, hey, this is what's coming out in the next 4 months, with a few other little tidbits of information about some DLCs that you And then they're like, every once in a while they'll be like, hey, guess what, guys? We're making this game, and you're not gonna hear about it for a while. You know, it's like they announced Metroid Prime like 4, and it's like that's been 2-3 years ago, pal. Mike's getting impatient. Like this happens all the time with him. It's like they just announced stuff too quickly. They announced the FF7 remake. Like we were still on Nights. I want to say it might have been 2014, and then it didn't come out until 2020.
Damn. They made it. They said, "Wow!" They announced it that far back.
Yeah, because it was a part of the PlayStation E3 thing. But yeah, it was just a lot of different like stuff. Sometimes stuff gets announced too early. But this was the PlayStation showcase, and since they were in E3, it was really cool. It was almost like a week out. They're like, "Hey, we're doing something." So we're like, "Ooh, what do you got for us?" And there was nothing about Horizon. And that game did get delayed. I'm actually glad it got delayed, because I want it to be good. I want it to not have any issues when it comes out. Halo's coming out this year, but they've already saying they're not going to release the full experience.
Yes and no. Yeah, I mean, so that's people are kind of bummed about that and butthurt about it and hating about it. But so they're not releasing it with co-op, and they're not releasing it with a progression system for the multiplayer. Which
really?
At least right off the bat, I think the first major update will have co-op and everything though. I've just been going, all my information is just off of some of the YouTubers I watch.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not particularly bummed about that, because my first playthrough or dozen playthroughs is usually done solo anyways for a Halo campaign, and I'm not huge on the multiplayer anyways, so I'm okay. I'll be okay.
The only thing that does concern me is that there have been reports last year that this game is not in a really good shape.
Oh, it's looking fucking fantastic from my perspective, from the release footage and gameplay from the recent test footage.
Sure, and I hope it is. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer about Halo. I'm not that kind of guy. I want it to be good, and I want Xbox to succeed. And I'm hoping that it does. The whole we're not releasing everything up front is not necessarily anything new. Games have done that in the past.
I'm not too fond of one that came out this year that did that.
Which
Monster
one?
Monster Hunter Rise. I was pretty excited for it because I dug the new gameplay mechanics that they were adding in, and it was going to be cool to have it on. It was on the Switch, so it was going to be cool to have it mobile again. Despite the Switch not being nearly as powerful as the PlayStation 4 or any of the other consoles that the previous previous Monster Hunter title was on. But they didn't release it. They didn't release a full story. And even now with the full story out, they're not really doing much with the end game itself. And that's what Monster Hunter is all about, is the grind and the end game. And the end game is usually just nothing but, all right, let's try to fucking figure out the most damage we could possibly do and how fast we can kill these monsters and what kind of armor sets we can make and builds and all that. And meanwhile, they've been releasing event quests, which typically in the past, event quests usually was a way to get a particular item or resource, or you can get this item and it unlocks this armor piece or this weapon and it's a special event weapon or armor. Sometimes it was kooky, like a toilet plunger lance. Sometimes it was awesome and badass. And or sometimes the fight was just, this is a particular special fight with this particular special version of this monster, and it's cool. No, lately what you get from these event quests are emojis and gestures that your player can do.
Fortnite dances.
Yeah, I'm like, luckily, I actually got, this is the first Monster Hunter title that I've gotten rid of within a couple months of owning it. Normally, I just keep them, and I just have them whether I have the console or not. I just have, just because I love the Monster Hunter series. If anybody knows me from this show or my other show, Podcastrophe, I'm a Monster Hunter fan.
Well, and
I'm not a fan of this.
well, and I'm definitely sorry to hear that. But if anybody knows you from your other podcasts, they might know that you have another podcast with yours truly.
I sure do.
Yeah, you definitely do. And so that show is called Rank 'Em All, which is called the Rank 'Em All podcast. It's a podcast where we take a bunch of music, some artists and bands and their discographies, and we go all down their stuff and we rank them, and we listen to every song. We rank every song. We average out those songs.
And people get mad at me.
Well, they might, yeah. You know, sometimes they might tell you that you guys are going to fight or something. Maybe,
they're not really a fan of my my controversial opinions.
Well, you know what?
Really enjoying something.
Let's just
they don't like it when I like it.
Let's just say, as of this airing, this episode hasn't come out yet, but there's going to be an episode coming out where somebody likes something even more than you do. In fact, this is the most liked album from any panelist on any. There's,
that's pretty impressive given the series that we just came out with.
Yes, exactly. So Rank 'Em All, guys. We just, as I said, we take a bunch of. We take some of our favorite bands and artists, and we go down their entire discography. Each week is a new album, so it's almost kind of like a book of the week type deal. We just listen to the album, we rank each song, we talk about it, we give it a rank. We average out all of our individual panel ranks. So all of my ranks, all of Dick's ranks, and then we get that's our album rank. It's not like you can just say I give this album a 10. Well, so if you average a 10, that means you give the whole every single song a 10. No, come on now. Unless you're somebody else, which we'll get there. But so it's more honest. It's more straightforward.
It is.
You know, that's why I kind of chose that way. And then we get the actual podcast master rank where we take all of our album ranks because, you know, maybe Dick liked it more than I do, and I don't like that. But it averages that out, and we have the actual official podcast rank for Rank 'Em All. Of course, Rank 'Em All is on all the podcast places where you can find this great podcast that you're listening to, as well as YouTube. Go check us out on all those other places for Rank 'Em All, and all of the great social media places as well at Rank 'Em All Pod, and Facebook and Twitter, all that jazz. We post some stuff.
It's a good time.
Yeah, it is.
We have a good time. We have a really good time doing that podcast, no matter which group is doing it, you know.
Well, and what's cool is that, you know, Dick and I were on the Metallica rank. That's what we started with. It was you know, myself and you, as well as Nick Maxon and Nate Phillips, who's been on the show before. And we did that entire discography run. Well, after that, we kind of split off. You and Nick got a whole different crew together and did Between the Buried and Me. And now Nate and I got together with one of our friends, Joe, and we did Van Halen. So two different kind of forks in the road paths.
Very different.
And that's what's cool about it is that if you like rock and roll, if you like heavy metal, this is a chance to listen to some bands maybe you never heard of, or listen to us talk about them, and maybe it'll entice you to listen to it.
I'm looking forward to some of the bands coming up that I'm more than likely not going to participate in, but I'm looking forward to them because maybe I will participate from a listener standpoint, and I have yet to do that. So
exactly. You know, and that's what's so cool about it is that we're trying to spread the love of music to different people, and venturing out and listening to somebody or an artist or albums that you would never have. And you just went all over the place.
I did.
It's an earthquake at your house.
So I got tired of looking down at my laptop and my camera being above my laptop. So I'm putting my camera where my laptop is.
Okay.
And now it looks a little bit more like I'm looking at the camera. Just a little bit.
Well, you know what? I actually kind of had to redo my setup here, and I had to move the camera over here. So now I'm sitting here like this, and now it's like most of the camera, I'm just like over here in the corner. I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? Oh, like I'm down here. So, guys, yeah, go check out Rank 'Em All. Help us out. Subscribe. It'll be great. But, guys, the PlayStation Showcase, they kicked it off. I'm like, what is this game? This weird chess thing. It's just an intro. I know you didn't see the whole event thing, but they did this whole live action intro where it was like some live action video game, but it was just chess. I'm like, well, okay, that was a weird 3-minute segment. You guys put time into this. What is this?
You guys put time into this.
I didn't know. Yeah, I'm like, wow, all right. But then they literally came out swinging for the fences with the reveal of Knights of the Old Republic remake, console exclusive to PS5. They said it being developed for PS5. Later on, it was kind of revealed there is a PC version in the works, but it's going to hit PS5 first.
Okay.
No word on other console releases. Now, that doesn't mean that won't happen, but it literally said Sony Interactive Entertainment presents. So this game is being developed by a group called Aspire, in conjunction with Lucasfilm Games, which is they restarted up like last year or something, and also seemingly in conjunction with Sony Entertainment Interactive, which was that is not this. It's not Sony Studios. It's not one of their like. This is supposedly looking like a second party console exclusive, which we've had. The closest thing that I can easily off the top of my head relay that to would be Detroit or Beyond Two Souls or a Death Stranding, where like Sony doesn't own the developing team, but they have the console rights to keep that exclusive. So I did say before I found out that it was PC, I'm like, hey, there's a chance it could come to Xbox.
Yeah.
But when I'm starting to think about it, and I'm thinking about how many of those games that I just mentioned, how many of those came to Xbox? So far, none.
No.
So
it's just funny because the original Knights of the Old Republic was Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
Both it itself and its sequel.
Yeah.
And which both ended up on PC eventually. And well, thanks to Aspire, the phone.
Yeah.
iOS.
Yeah. So just like you said, it was developed for the Xbox to be a console exclusive, just like Mass Effect. BioWare did the same thing with Mass Effect 1, where it was like they developed it for the Xbox and then developed the PC port later. The unfortunate thing about
the PC port of KOTOR is super buggy.
Well, guess what? So is the Mass Effect one. That's because they did it in reverse. Typically, you make things for the PC back then, especially back then.
Yeah.
And then you would bring it over. And then this was the opposite. So then it created a whole slew of bugs. But no, like as you said, Aspire made the phone ports, the tablet, whatever, the mobile versions of of those and of KOTOR.
Yeah.
The old school games. And now they are developing a full-fledged remake of the original game.
Which that could be a lot of different things. That's built. If you're building a game from the ground up, if you're remaking a game from the ground up, because there's a lot of things that can change. There's the gameplay itself, the fighting, the story, and that's one thing that is definitely up on the block right now is the story, and because all that stuff was already said to be not canon anymore. It's considered legends by Lucasfilm. So now we have this coming in, this Knights of the Old Republic remake, and they're taking that story and hopefully, I'm just gonna assume that since it's an official title now in this new age of Star Wars that started like 5, 7, or 8 years ago, it's canon now. It's potentially going to be canon now. Or is going to be canon now, and I'm super stoked on that. But I'm wondering at what cost, to the original story, the original source material of Knights of the Old Republic. What are they going to do to that story?
It seems like I'm having this conversation that I just had a couple of years ago with the Final Fantasy VII remake, and especially with how that remake ended up and came off. If you haven't listened to me and Mike break that down last year, go check out that 3-hour podcast where
which one, the story you told me they stuck to the original, but they made it better.
It's not just that, it's a sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very okay. No, not here. Okay, I'm not comparing apples to apples here, because with FF7 remake, it's a entirely different beast. It remakes. Literally, the name remake is a part of the title of this version. It's here, you're playing this new version of this, and all of a sudden, this isn't quite right. Well, this one isn't quite. Well, what are these things here? Okay, but this part's going just the same, and it seems like none of the characters are aware of it, except maybe 1 or 2. The 2 most key sequential members of like who are more in tune with the magical side of what's going on, and that doesn't mean almost anybody that's in your one party of your character that's not the main character, and possibly the main villain. And so that it made it to where what I liked about it is that it made it to where the original game still matters. You still play that original game, just like you still watch Advent Children, you still play Crisis Core, all that still matters. But now we're like divergent timelines. It's a little confusing. A lot of people didn't like that. A lot of people, because it wasn't a straight up 1-to-1 remake, just fancier, just bigger, just more in depth, they stubbed their nose up at it, and they're not going to come back and play them. I just
enjoy the fact that you have a brand new game based in this universe that everybody loves.
I just got a really bad eyelash in my eye.
Oh no.
Oh, so okay, so my eyelashes are already long anyway, but with my glaucoma drops, they make them grow even longer, so they really come out. Literally, my wife wants to like put mascara in there just to see how high they raise. And all my kids have now they've inherited my eyelash gene, but hopefully not my eyes. No, I am a little
your dominant eyelashes.
Oh my gosh, right? So I am a little worried. I'm wondering if Aspire making this should be making me perspire, but I'm gonna hold off. I'm really excited, but I also don't want my excitement to overcloud any apprehension I might have, and be wary that this might not be the exact game that I loved. And that's what a lot of people are going to have a hard time getting over, because this is not going to be the same game that you loved. It's not going to be the same kind of game.
No.
They said,
but would I love a fresh take on it? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. They are trying to keep what people loved about it while expanding it. I'm all for that. It needs to be a little bit more cinematic and less rigid like the original one was. Revan needs to have a voice, and yes, it does need to be Keanu Reeves.
I don't know if I want his voice to be Keanu Reeves.
I would be okay with it.
I don't know.
I would be okay with it. I would be okay with you not getting to create your character and having it just be Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I'd be okay with. I would be okay with that.
However,
he kind of does have a definitive look now, according to the Old Republic MMO.
Yeah, well, but as you said, like, are they going to take this opportunity to flesh this story out and make some changes?
Number one change that I want to see: get rid of Manon and expand Korriban. I would love to see a ton of Korriban stuff.
Okay, so like, part of me was wondering about this earlier when we kind of had a little discussion that we didn't really fully have because we were going to talk today on the podcast.
Yeah.
How much do we need the different classes before you become a Jedi? It's there. You can spec into different things. You can be a scoundrel. You can be a scout, or you can be a warrior, a soldier.
See, it works for the first game.
Mm-hmm.
It works for both games, because you don't know you're a Jedi in the first game.
Yeah.
Until you become a Jedi, and then you get to pick. Oh, well, I'm this type of Jedi.
You don't know that you're Revan until they tell you that you're Revan. There's hints, but
and then the second game, you literally start out as a Jedi, and so you get to pick what kind of Jedi you want to be. But once you hit level 15 or whatever it is, you get to branch out and pick what kind of Jedi or Sith you want to be. And so it's further specialization either towards going down. So you can either choose to be super proficient in whatever it is you choose, or you can pick something different and try a different type of gameplay from that point on that either enhances your weaknesses or it's just different. I don't know. There's always the three choices. You're either combat heavy, force heavy, or you're like a really balanced.
So I'm gonna invoke the name of FF7 Remake again here.
Go for it.
Because we're talking about remaking a game which is technically turn-based. It is turn-based,
but it's designed in a way that you really can't tell that it's turn-based.
No, your character, you assign your character actions You can give them one by one actions, or you can preload some actions,
Hmm.
and you go through and you kind of manage your party that way. And it's almost like a MMO light.
Yeah.
You're not overwhelmed with a full screen of shortcuts and key binding powers to try and try and memorize. You have abilities, and you have items that you can use, and you have a set uh, climb of this action. It takes this long to load this action, and then you do your action, and then there's a dice roll, and then the damage. It's very still old school tabletop mixed in here. Now, FF7 Remake did a really good job of bringing forward action-based RPGs, still with some turn-based qualities, and I think it would work in a manner here. I do think that Kotor needs to be sped up. Not maybe FF7 sped up. Some of that stuff gets kind of outrageous. But
It needs to be a Star Wars game, though.
it needs to be a little bit more like when you press the attack button, you swing your sword or you swing your lightsaber.
Yeah.
You're doing stuff. But then it's like you can spec into a power move or a force push or a thing there. Now, FF7 Remake, you have 2 ATB bars. And as you fight, they fill up. As you attack and land attacks, it fills up faster. Then your actions cost ATB. So items cost 1 ATB. Abilities can cost 1 or 2 depending on the intensity of the action you're taking. And magic typically costs 1. It just, the intensity of the magic takes longer for you to cast, and you're open. If you get hit, it cancels out the action. And then, of course, then you get a limit break that supersedes any sort of ATB. It doesn't utilize that at all. But with KOTOR, you could do something similar, where you can fight and use up to where you can use your ATB or your actions. So I don't know, because there was a force bar and a health bar, so there's that. I'm a little bit on the fence of what I would exactly want to do with this to try and keep it, which is why I was questioning about the Scoundrel and Scout, and do we need to have Revan running and gunning, because how is that going to feel in an RPG setting versus then all of a sudden now you get a lightsaber, are you ever going to use your gun again?
Absolutely not.
Right. So wouldn't it make sense to have him from out of the gate just kind of be already a hand-to-hand soldier? And it's like, I'm good at this for some reason. I don't know.
I mean, right out the bat, like I think even after I got a lightsaber, I about said light sword. Wow. Even after I got my lightsaber, I did find myself using some swords here and there, like Naga Sadow's sword, that poison vibra blade that you get from him. That was pretty kick ass, and I loved it.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, I'm hopeful. I'm also don't think that we're going to see this game for quite some time. If it's in development just for the PS5, that tells me we're not going to see it until late 2023 at the earliest. I don't think it's even going to be that year, because of how long it takes to develop games nowadays versus the timetable for which they're saying a PS5 exclusive. That means there's not going to be no crossover, which means to me over the next 2 years, you're going to see a diminishing number of games that are exclusive and crossover, because they're going to want you to go out and buy the new console. Horizon will be, and it's free, by the way. But after Horizon, if you buy the PS4 version of the game and you want to upgrade to PS5, after you buy the PS5, it's going to cost you $10.
Not anymore.
No, that was what they just said.
Oh, what?
So originally they weren't going to let you do that there was backlash over Horizon, and now they're saying after Horizon it's going to cost you $10. I know that there was a reversal, but it had to do with Horizon in general.
Okay.
Because Xbox is just boom, you have it. We have upgraded you. If it says smart delivery. So Xbox does it for free, but you gotta you gotta buy the right box, I guess.
Okay.
And they've got a lot of boxes over there at Xbox. A lot of series, a lot of S's, a lot of X's. Their game boxes look even more confusing. Look, guys. I want Xbox to succeed. But if you're trying, like I literally had a friend 2 years ago message me and ask me if the all-digital Xbox was a good decision for him, and it was not, because he did not know that all-digital meant no disc at all. Because it looked the same as the 1S.
Yeah.
And he didn't know because he's not into it. So, and he's not like somebody. He's not like a dumb grandparent or a technology incompetent person. It's just he doesn't really follow it that much. He's a very casual gamer. So I had to tell him, no, don't get that.
I'm looking at all this Horizon stuff. Let's see here. See if I can come up with anything cool to talk about that. This is let's see, the Horizon Regala edition features a custom sculpted trimmer tusk, which is basically a giant robotic mammoth. It looks pretty fucking killer. Is mounted by 3 Tenax warriors and adorned by the tribal markings, movable trunk, and 4 adjustable tusks that can allow for a variety of poses. Alert stages, LED light up eyes with 3 color settings: neutral, alerted, and combat. It's a 40 centimeter long and 36 centimeters high. Cool. That's tight.
So look, I know that there's a certain audience.
I'm not gonna get that.
A certain audience. There's a certain audience for buying these special collector's editions and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
and I am no stranger to it. Like I've bought a lot of.
I've got a couple.
Those.
I've got the Batman Arkham Knight one there. I got the MGS5. You know,
I want that. I still want that so bad.
Here, so it's like I've got a couple. You know, but like I think I got the Persona 5 when that first came out. It just got to a point where I didn't have enough room for them anymore. And there's some people who just have shelves so full of just collector's editions. I remember when Nate worked at GameStop, he got a bunch of them. He got the bookends for the Mortal Kombat, whatever when that was, where like on one end it was Scorpion, and then on the other end of the other bookend it was coming through like Sub-Zero's chest. So
that's killer. Okay, so I got the Forbidden West Collector's Editions, which is $200.
Oof.
And it features the same statue. I think the statue it's the same thing. It's the same robotic creature mammoth, but it's different. It's a different one. It doesn't have the people riding it, and there's a tiny statue of Aloy as well.
And this game comes out in February, right?
Yes, February 18th.
18th. I knew it was either that or like the 20th or something like that. It is around there. I'm actually very glad it got delayed. I want it to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Like our friend Will said, Game of the Year goes to Cyberpunk for making every other game delay.
Pretty much. You know what? Based off of that,
but that's
you can
okay.
Almost say so. Now, another game that was shown at the showcase, I'm not going to talk about too much, though, but it just came out or is about to. Deathloop. Deathloop is getting reviews, man. It's getting good reviews. IGN gave it a 10.
Damn.
And it is PlayStation exclusive for 1 year because it is being published by Bethesda, which they are now owned by Microsoft.
Okay.
And they already had these deals in place for 2 games. It was Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, which was shown as well. That was the first Ghostwire thing we've seen in quite some time.
No idea.
It was shown a while back at one of the Bethesda events. It's kind of a horror type deal. I'm not sure if it's got the same anybody involved as was it Evil Within.
Yeah,
it's got its own little feel to it. I'm not sure if either one of these games are really up my alley, which is why I don't really have much to say about them. Deathloop looks interesting. It's one of those games where like you just keep trying and dying over and over again, and it just like like it's
as a Monster Hunter player, I can relate to that sometimes.
But yeah, eventually those 2 games will be going over to Xbox because they actually own those properties. But then they show Grand Theft Auto 5 coming to PS5. Whee! So people were really angry about this, and
like when they when was the first time they announced Grand Theft Auto 5 for PS5?
was like over a year ago.
I can't
I'm.
believe the PS5's coming up on a year,
I know. I know. And
and I still don't have one.
yeah, no, you don't. I wouldn't actually advise you to get one unless you have the money. If you have
No,
the
no, and that's the plan right now. Like I have no need for it, because there are literally no games out for it right now that I give a shit about.
yeah,
Uh, and the games that are out, I have on PS4 and have upgrades for.
exactly. So
So
that's the best way to go about it at this moment in time. Even if when Horizon comes out and you don't have a PS5 and can't get one, don't have the money, just
yeah,
get the game. Just get the game and play it.
my
It's
plan is to get a PS5 when God of War Ragnarok drops,
okay. So in
and
about a year,
hopefully there's a bundle with that, special edition or something along those lines.
it would be nice.
And hopefully they're not as hard to come by.
Well, thankfully there was that report about the new PS5s being worse. They're actually not that worse.
No,
No, no. So some real information came out, and
some real information
well,
as opposed to the fake.
it wasn't fake information. It just wasn't as well dived in, and the guy even said, "Hey, this further investigation on this needs to be done," and they did. Another channel did, and they found the actual running temperatures of the CPU, GPU, and all that stuff. So,
Okay.
so don't worry, it's not that bad. If you find a new one, you can get a new one. You won't have to worry about it. But no, GTA 5 coming to PS5. A lot of people are angry about it that they're still playing the same game that came out at this point.
I mean, what the hell can I say? I'm still playing Metal Gear Solid 5 for the Phantom Pain.
You're welcome, by the way.
Yeah. So it's like, who am I to judge this game that's been on?
I have a shelf full of retro games that I pop in from time to time and play.
I played Metal Gear Solid 5, and so the other day, Will gave me back. Our friend Will gave me back my copy of Ghost of Tsushima that I let him borrow a year ago.
Yep. Because he just picked up the PS5 version.
Yeah. So I after it sitting on my counter for like a week or two, and I finally was like, I'm gonna play that. So I pop it in my PS4 Pro, and it's got like a 39 gig update. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna let that sit and I'm gonna play Metal Gear Solid. That was last Friday. Today is Tuesday.
There you go.
And I am still playing Metal Gear Solid 5.
Well, there was no Metal Gear announced at the thing, but back to GTA 5 really quick.
Yeah.
It doesn't bug me that this is getting a release. Number one, it prints Rockstar money. The GTA Online. That's more money they can put to just paying their people, making games. Red Dead Redemption 2 took a long time to come out. 8 years, something like that. It was a long time. And it was still one of my favorite gaming experiences in that generation.
Yeah. Like, I still have yet to play it. I have it.
Such an awesome... if you let yourself become immersed by it and let yourself get into Arthur's story, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And it's amazing tale of this group of dudes slowly falling apart.
Yeah.
Anyway...
I'd really like to play it, but I just can't peel myself away from Metal Gear Solid.
Well, one of these days, you'll play it, and then you go, you know what? 5 years later, that game's pretty freaking good. Yeah. It is. No, one of the reasons why I'm okay with GTA 5 coming out is that them porting this game over helps them kind of figure out the nuances of the architecture and the SSD.
Yeah.
You know,
that makes sense.
It should help with their GTA 6 development. I know people want that game. I want that game. That will be the biggest game launch in the history of ever when that game comes out. But I'm okay with waiting. I've got a ton of other stuff to play. Yes, I understand. I, too, have seen Skyrim come out on so many generations of consoles. It's coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X as well. Free if you own the PS5 and Xbox One edition. So that's cool. You get a slight upgrade. And if you already own that, that's cool. I actually bought it on Switch, so I don't get that upgrade.
I think the current version I own is the PC version.
Yeah, you know what?
So I'll
It's
be getting
cool.
that update as well.
I'm not mad about it. That game is one of the most popular games of all time, just like GTA 5.
I loved it.
You know,
I
it's
absolutely loved it.
peop
I haven't seriously played it since 2012, but
but if they wouldn't keep releasing it if people wouldn't keep
I
playing it.
know.
So,
I know, and it's the same damn people.
sure.
It's like they're not. There's hardly any new customers for that I'm
Yeah,
aware
well,
of.
I
It's
mean,
just all the same people that have already played it. It's like, oh well,
there's new generations of gamers born.
guess I'm gonna get it on this console.
Yeah, well, you know what? My kid is just discovering Minecraft all these years later.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's getting into that. That's cool. But um, one of the other things that got, hold on, where's no? I lost my place. I lost my place. Gran Turismo 7. Talk about
Yeah,
that
I
real
saw
quick.
that.
So that is, they announced that for March of next year.
Okay.
And as per usual, the graphical fidelity of Gran Turismo.
Out of this world. I'm not a car game person, a racing game person.
I'm not either.
Looks it looks out of this world.
It, I've never been the biggest fan of Gran Turismo. I have them. I have 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
and then Mike might have given me his copy of the whatever one, not 6 or whatever the last one was, or 5. I think he gave me one for the PS3 because he's like, "Here, have this." And then there was another one on PS3 right when after the PS4 came out. And then there was Sport for PS4, and I don't think he ever played that. But he's excited about it because it seems to have a lot of features that he wants to have as far as
Okay.
customization. It looks like it's got like a little hub world, very similar to like a Forza, which that's their main competitor.
Competitor.
And
Yeah.
literally, Forza, instead of making another main Forza Motorsport, they're making another Forza Horizon. Off the success of Forza Horizon 4, I am also not a car game guy, and that game is fun as shit.
Yeah.
For a guy who doesn't like racing, I got into it. That should be your goal, to please the fans and get people who don't play to play your game.
I want a new Burnout. That'd be a fun game now.
Yeah, they did the remasters surprisingly like a couple years ago for that. That kind of paved the way for Mass Effect Remaster to come out because EA said we're not doing remasters, and somehow they got talked into doing the Burnouts.
Yeah.
And they sold well. Speaking of remastered, Uncharted's getting remastered.
I saw that.
Both the Uncharted 4 and its expansion, Thieves something. Oh wow! So the main game's Thief's End, and then Lost Legacy. Lost Legacy, you play as Chloe, and I can't remember her partner in that is the main, almost kind of like villainish girl from the 4th game. Anyway, both of those are getting redone for PS5 and PC. So you're getting a PC version of Uncharted finally coming out. That's cool.
Nice.
I'm excited to start seeing a few more PlayStation PC releases. So that way the PC, I mean, yes, you're not getting them brand new for the most part, but like Horizon came out for it, God of War is probably going to come out. If it hasn't already, I can't remember. I don't keep track of them. And I remember reading a long time ago, fuck, it might have been like a week ago. I don't know. But Epic Games tried to pay PlayStation a lot for them to feature the PlayStation stuff on Epic for, exclusively. But I don't think it's happening. A few other games. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. Sorry, guys, if you care about those. I'm not gonna talk about them.
I don't know what they are, but I don't care about them.
But we got 2 games from Insomniac. Wolverine.
Yeah.
Wolverine is coming out. They're making a Wolverine game, and then Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
So first off, Wolverine really quick, because it was just a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
Not much there. We don't know anything. It's probably way further in development.
Apparently, there's a ton of Easter eggs in that announcement.
Yep.
I haven't looked into it, but apparently there's a bunch.
Yep. There, I have seen a couple myself, especially with maybe a certain comic number up on the wall. Anyway, I was as soon as I saw Insomniac, I'm like, oh, Spider-Man. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, what's this? What's going on here? They literally had me. I'm like, what's going on? Like, and then it was like right before the claws came out. I went, no way, slank. I'm like, what? Because we know that they're making Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Now they're making this, so like, this has got to be very early in development. I don't think this is going to be after. This is they have confirmed Wolverine is PS5 exclusive. We are not going to be seeing Wolverine before Spider-Man 2 because they revealed Spider-Man 2. They revealed Parker and Morales, kick us some tail, and what we presume to be Craven talking.
Yeah.
And then answering Craven, maybe. Venom, which we already knew that was coming based off of the information from the last game. So I'm super excited to see, like, is this going to incorporate some co-op, some character switching, like a la GTA 5? I think that would be cool. I think that would be cool just to have, like, boom, boom.
It
okay.
would be.
Well, because then you could really use that SSD. You could have Miles swinging over there doing his thing, and he has his own quests and his own stuff that's just his. And then you have Parker stuff, and then you have the main story quests where they both converge. I think that would be neat. And then honestly, if I think an online co-op would be cool, but even like if you're playing solo, if you're both fighting together, I think a quick switch back and forth and combo moves would be out of this world.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
And then, of course, you guys got to both fight to take down Venom. It would be then really cool, in my opinion, to have the symbiote leave Venom.
Yeah.
And then where does he go? Does he go to Parker or does he go to Miles?
That would be interesting. Has that happened in comics yet?
I don't know. I don't know. But seeing as how this Spider-Verse is all about subverting your expectation. They made story changes and liberal changes with some of the things. That's fine. I'm okay with it as long as you do it well, right? And, they killed Aunt May at the end of the first game. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, they did the unthinkable.
Right. And it's like, yes, she has died before. That's a story that's happened. But literally to end the game that way is just boom. But then it's like we all expect Parker to get the symbiote. What if it's not Parker? What if Miles gets it? And he can't handle it. And Parker has to take Miles down to save him. And
just
Parker feels him. Well, because then Parker feels bad because he has now just adopted him in. He's trained him. And yet at the end of the day, man, he's just a kid. I mean, he's almost like out of high school or whatever, but he's just this kid in over his head. And I don't know where they're going to go with it. Spider-Man, to me, the best thing about Spider-Man is the tragedy of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Nothing good almost ever happens because he's Spider-Man.
Yeah. And he's got to deal with that duality of being Spider-Man and Peter Parker.
And it never goes well. It hardly ever goes well for him. It puts the people that he loves most in danger, and he has to sacrifice so often. So I'm excited to see how that kind of turns out. They have said 2023? Is that when that was?
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. More than okay, because we already have a big year next year with the next title. So we have Horizon slated for early. Okay, we have Gran Turismo coming out a month later. It's an entirely different, beast with that. If you want to say that. But the next game.
So when PS5 got revealed, all that year ago, when I said I'm not going to get a PS5. Not right away. I don't have the money for it. It'd be irresponsible, and it's super hard to come by. I said, and then months go by, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait. I'm still going to wait to get a PS5. I'm going to wait until either Horizon Forbidden West comes out.
Yeah.
At the time, it was just Horizon, whatever it's gonna be.
Yeah.
They hadn't announced it yet at all. I'm gonna wait till either that comes out or God of War comes out, and I'm gonna get a bundle.
Boom. So we got our
God
first,
of War. God of fucking War.
We got our first look at God of War Ragnarok, slated for release next holiday season, I assume. I hope it's on time. I hope that they're good. If they, as always, if you got to delay it. We don't need another Cyberpunk on our hands. I would hate for that to happen to any of these big titles, and I have a feeling they won't let that happen. But we got to see gameplay. And
it is Santa Monica, so
yep.
I have high expectations. I have high hopes.
Same, because I'm a guy who went into the last game not really hyped about it. I'm not the biggest God of War fan. I enjoy it. I've got the games. It's cool. I've played through them. It's all right, but it's never been my cup of Dr. Pepper, my cup of tea. Yes, I can enjoy it, but it gets like the old games got old to me really quick. They were all kind of the same. And then I got, as I've said here on the show before, I got my opportunity to upgrade my PS4 because it was broken, and I ended up getting the special edition, which came with the game for free, which was the same price as a Pro. If I'm going to get a new console at that time, I was going to get the Pro, and I did, and I got it. And I'm like, well, I guess I could try this out. If I hate it, oh well. It was a free game. At least the console looks kind of neat.
Yeah.
It was almost like the same thing that I said about when I got the Xbox One. It was like, I don't care about Call of Duty, but the console looks cool.
Right.
But I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was a really well-written story and probably even better written than all the other games combined. It
absolutely was.
And
I'm a huge fan of all of them.
It told a more personable story, and that's exactly what this character needed, especially for Kratos coming in and him having a second chance at a family, I guess. And the whole story with him and his kid, I liked it. Now we're catching up. Post the events, it's almost like it's picking up next day, but it's not quite. Atreus is a little bit older. He's hunting by himself. The opening scene of the trailer shows him bringing in like the deer.
Whereas the original reveal was you going to help him hunt.
Yeah.
Or Kratos going to help him hunt. Now he's doing it all by himself, and that was a cool callback and show of growth.
Yep. And then of course there's Mimir. Is that his name?
Mimir.
Yeah. Mimir hanging out to him.
I don't know what he's doing. He's either at first I thought he was eating, and then I saw someone say he was painting.
It looks like he's painting, yeah.
Or he's just using a stick to turn pages of a book.
He might be.
Either way, he's a head and he has no arms, and he is using this stick, brush, food, whatever it is, and he just chucks it out. And has something witty and sarcastic to say about Kratos.
We have been confirmed that Cory Barlog is not directing this, but he is involved, and that this is the last game in the Norse mythology. So we're only getting 2 games instead of the. How many games did we get for? Because you had 2
mainline games, 3.
3. Then you had
then you had Ascension, which takes place before, and then there's Chains of Olympus, and then there's Ghost of Sparta. Chains and Ghost were both PSP.
Yep.
Later brought to the God of War collection.
Yep.
On PS3. Ascension was okay. Yeah.
I enjoyed the PSP games.
Yeah, I did too. But no, this being it totally makes sense because Ragnarok is technically the end of Norse mythology.
Exactly.
It's the end. It's the end of the cycle, and then everything starts over, begins anew. It's the battle of the gods.
Yeah, and we got our first look at Thor. I don't have the image popped up, but he's a biggin.
Voiced by Ryan Hurst.
Yeah.
Which I'm totally stoked for. I loved him in Sons of Anarchy. I loved him in the last couple seasons of Walking Dead.
Yeah, played Beta.
Yep. Yeah. He's been on a roll.
Yeah, he has. And now he's playing Thor. Very interesting. There's been some hate about fat shaming this Thor, which is funny.
Yeah.
Come on.
If you watch Endgame, you get fat Thor. You get that, which is honestly more true to the original Norse mythology anyways. Because he Thor's portrayed a lot of the time. Yeah, he's a brilliant warrior. But he's also super hedonistic.
Mm-hmm.
He lives life. He drinks a fuckload. He is a big boy. So yeah.
I think it's going to be a great year next year for PlayStation, especially if all these games are able to hit their marks and come out when they can. I think it's going to be great. And then, of course, they now have an outline for the next couple of years with, after next year, and then the new Spider-Man game, and then they've laid the groundwork. The GTA 5 is coming out now in March. That got delayed, but that's coming out. After that comes out, now for the past, I believe it is 3 major Rockstar games. I don't know for Red Dead Redemption that might have been the same, so maybe it's 4. 18 months is when they usually try to announce 18 months out for when they try to announce the next game. So when they announce GTA 6, hopefully 18 months they'll have the release of it. Now, for both Red Dead, so maybe all 3 of them. I think they all 3, GTA 4, Red Dead 1, GTA 5, and Red Dead 2, they all got delayed. And some of them had sizable delays, like 6 months almost, like to try and wrap it up. I'm not counting GTA Online. That rollout was abysmal, and I'm not going to judge rolling out an online game versus putting out a really stellar single player experience, which they have done time and time again. Each and every one of those games, despite your personal preference of control, GTA 4, are really playable and fun experiences that aren't broken. So they only got better with time. GTA 5 and Red Dead 2 were impeccable as far as their control and their stories. Their online modes maybe suffered, but that's okay. That's see Diablo if you want to hear more about online follies. And but so like hopefully we'll have an announcement for GTA 6 if that's coming out anytime soon. We have Final Fantasy 16 exclusive to the PS5 for a while probably. But but just like with FF7 Remake, they said, "Hey, this is exclusive to PlayStation for a year." And then they're like, "Oh, hey, this new Yuffie DLC, it's exclusive to the PS5 for 6 months." Neither one of those titles, neither the DLC or the remake, have a PC release date yet. Even though they said it's coming, we don't have one, and people are getting pretty impatient, namely Mike, but because he wants to play it on PC. But it's just a matter of like going forward, like, hey, FF16 going to be PS5 exclusive. How long is that going to take until that's not? All these companies, Sony has to start playing hardball with some of these exclusives because of how many companies Microsoft has now gobbled up. They've got Elder Scrolls. They got Fallout. They've got that. What's that? The other space game they've got by the same. Yeah, what is that? I can't remember. It's been a while. We got a little teaser of it.
Who's this again?
It was Bethesda. It was Fallout. Starfield. I couldn't remember. It's been a while. Been a little out of my
Outer
element.
Worlds.
No, see, that was a good game. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying the new game's gonna be bad. I'm not saying Outer Starfield, whatever, it's gonna be bad. No, Outer Worlds was great. They have that too. They own that. That is completely Microsoft now. That Obsidian made that before they got bought. Now they got bought. So the next one is exclusive to PC and Xbox. They have quite the collection of exclusives coming to Xbox for the first time in ever. But they went out and they bought them. So PlayStation, they can't go out and buy Square, but they can try and cut a deal.
Rest in peace, all those Xbox exclusives that were gonna come out and then
never
got the hatchet.
Oh,
like Dragon Bound or whatever. Scalebound.
Scalebound,
like
yeah, Scalebound. I remember
that looked cool.
Like,
that game looked so cool, and then it never.
They were going to do a remake of Phantom Dust that never came out, and then there was a multiplayer Fable game that got canceled. And so hopefully, now that they got
I think it came up in my memories today, or maybe it was yesterday. But it was a game that was supposed to come out for PS4 and Xbox One, and it was like it had to have been yesterday. It's not showing up, but it was like for fans of Dark Souls and Monster Hunter, and it looked super awesome. Like you were a knight fighting a dragon, and yeah, I'm a fan of doing that kind of thing.
I remember hearing a report it was going to come out to the Switch, but I don't remember anything ever coming of it. Maybe it came out and I'm just not aware, and it's not any good, so nobody talked about it.
I'm just waiting for the next Monster Hunter at this point, which will be years from now. So
years. Well, you know what? We got a couple things. You know, there's that long-stated rumor that PlayStation is we're getting a full remake of Metal Gear Solid 1. That's still a rumor. Still a rumor.
I'll play that. I will play that.
There are rumors that PlayStation is remaking The Last of Us 1.
Remaking?
Yeah. I don't know to what extent and how.
I don't know why.
None of us know why.
Point.
None of us know why either.
I mean, especially when you have the remastered version already on PS4.
It is already
you have
there.
The Last of Us Part 2 already on PS4.
Yep. So here's my hypothesis. It is The Last of Us with some improved level design, with some mechanics that they had in 2, with improved visuals to bring it up to par with the second one. And what they're going to do is go back and kind of remake the original game, not change it. Maybe they'll add a few things. Maybe. We'll see. I wouldn't mind for some extra stuff, but I don't want them to mess with it too much. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's going to be coming out in about 18 months to 2 years? Well, I mean, because we got to get past this year. Filming wraps next July on the Last of Us series.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
With Pedro Pascal and a bunch of other people. That's in I can't remember your names. The girl playing Ellie played Lady Mormont from Game of Thrones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They got her?
Yeah. So, like...
How did I not know that already?
And then there's even 2 cast members from the games that are in the show. I can't remember her name now, but she plays... the leader of the Fireflies. Damn it, Brando. My brain's not working. She's in the game. She plays the exact same character in the show. I thought that was kind of cool. And then the guy that plays Tommy in the game, he's playing a completely new character, different character in the show. And then the guy that plays Tommy in the show, he played the evil Terminator in the last Terminator movie.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, well, and it kind of makes sense because he's Hispanic, and then they kind of went Hispanic with Pedro.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, like, it makes sense because they make Tommy also. But here's my hypotheses. Start working on the remake. Blah, 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 blah. Do your thing. And then by the time the new show's coming out, you release the remake of the original game. Tie-in. Hey.
Featuring Pedro Pascal.
No, I don't want that. No. No.
But still voiced by...
It looks like Pedro Pascal, but it's still Troy Baker. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
But no, I don't want them to recast Ashley and Troy because they made those roles. I mean,
yeah,
sure,
for sure.
Neil wrote those roles and directed those roles, but those actors brought those roles to life. That's why we're getting the show. Without their performances, we wouldn't be getting that, and they need to be those characters. If you're playing the game, it needs to be those characters. I want an adaptation of it. I want to see their different takes on the character. I want to see all that, yes. It's like the Walking Dead series. It's like you have the comics of the show, different, whatever. Cool. But so for PS5, you get the Last of Us remake as well as a remaster of the second one to bring it up, because you would have to do less to that to bring it up graphical fidelity and engine-wise. It would be very close to what you're doing anyways. So that way... between part 1 and part 2, you're getting one solid, smooth experience that, because when you played the second one, it's obvious this is an enhanced version. You know, we've learned a few new tricks here, whereas in the first one, it's a little dated, but you can still play it. You know, if you enhance it a little bit, it might do good. And if that's all you do with it, is it a waste of time? Yes. Mm-hmm. Would people still buy it? If it comes out and it's like, hey, this is like the first one with the exact same actors and we've kind of redone a few scenes and it's just a little bit better, would I buy it? Shut up. I would. Um, but if they're saying we have completely redone this and this is now a television tie-in project, I might not do it because it's just like I don't want no, dude. I don't know. It's a lot of us are wondering why they're even doing it, but they're doing it apparently. They haven't announced that they're doing it, but the
Yeah.
word is on the street.
Speaking of video games that I would love to see turn into a TV show, The Force Unleashed.
Mm.
And you could straight up use the actor that played the main character
Yeah.
as the actor that plays the main character, Sam
Absolutely.
Witwer.
Absolutely.
Because he is also still heavily involved with Star Wars. He has voiced many characters, including the one and only Darth Maul throughout Clone Wars and Rebels, and the solo movie.
That's cool. So then it's Ray Park.
Ray Park plays him, but he is voiced by Sam Witwer in the scene.
That's definitely interesting, and I would like to see that as well. That would be.
I'd like to see it canonized. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then of course you would have to all right, let's kind of make this a little bit more realistic and less video gamey.
Mm-hmm.
Less over the top. I mean, I know we're talking about Star Wars here, but
right.
Find a way to work it in because that's always the really hard issue with that game happening alongside the original trilogy. You don't want to mess with it too much that you're messing with what's already canon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's always the trick.
Especially with the Obi-Wan Kenobi stuff coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are there any, so for the rest of the year, are there any games you're looking forward to playing coming out?
If I can be truly honest with you, no. That's kind of a lie. I am interested in Metroid Dread.
Okay.
That's coming out for the Switch. That is the first actual continuation of the original Metroid since Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance. So you had the original Metroid, Super Metroid, or you had original Metroid on NES, Metroid 2 on the Game Boy, Metroid 3 was Super Metroid, and then you had Metroid 4 was Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance. And they also did a remake of Zero Mission. That was the remake of the original NES game.
Okay.
So then, technically, you had, all three, whatever. So then, on the DS, they did a remake of Metroid 2, which was kind of it was a 3D game, but it was a 2D play style. So, updated graphics, but it played old school.
Well, there was like a Metroid Zero on the DS too, wasn't there? I remember playing the demo for it.
Okay, so Metroid Zero Mission was on the Game Boy Advance, and there was a few Metroid games that did come out, but none of them are because there were some tie-ins with Metroid Prime Hunters.
Oh, Prime, not Zero. Prime, that's what I meant.
Prime,
yeah, because
Prime is.
I remember being able to use the stylus to aim.
Yeah,
and
so
I was like,
Prime
this
is its own thing. So we're getting Metroid. Metroid 2, Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion. Those are the 4 Metroid canon original series games. Metroid Dread is Metroid 5.
Yeah.
And that is just awesome to me that we are finally 20 years later almost continuing the actual story of Samus and all that stuff. I think that's really cool. Mike is super hyped on it. He's a super big Metroid fan. Metroid Prime is its own thing, and they are working on 4 because they have 3 mainline games. And that's coming.
See, I don't know the story for anything Metroid, but I would love to play like a newer Prime. I always wanted to play Prime back in the day, but I at the time either didn't have a GameCube or it was one of those things where I was a little kid and I only have a select option of games that I can get my dad to buy me.
My only complaint is that it feels a little dated now, going back to Metroid Prime. Because of how you move around and you aim her, it's like imagine it's not quite Halo yet. It's almost Halo, but the aiming still has a little bit. It reminds you a little bit of GoldenEye.
I was about to ask. I was about to say GoldenEye.
It's a little bit GoldenEye-ish, and so but it's not. But it doesn't feel as bad. I don't know.
Remember the aiming on Turok?
Ugh. Speaking of Turok, I think there's a version of that coming out here soon.
There is.
A re-release.
For PS4.
Yeah, and I believe it's coming out on limited run games.
It is, and Turok 2 Seeds of Evil.
Oh, both of them?
Yep.
See, I check limited run from time to time. I've actually even sold a our good buddy Nate on a few things on Limited Run. He bought the Super Nintendo Zombies Ate My Neighbors re-release. Nice. And then he also picked up, I believe he picked up, the Jay and Silent Bob game. So, all right, coming soon, Turok 1 and 2. Seeds of so 1 and 2 for the PS4 for $60 for both of them. Physical copies. You can get the classic edition, which comes in a box that looks like a a Nintendo 64 box. And yeah, so those will be $30 a piece, or $60 for both, or $60 for the classic editions each.
Which Turok Dinosaur Hunter is already on the Switch.
Yes, it is. So these are coming out a little bit. Oh, by the time you hear this, this will be available Friday, September 17th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The classic edition for PS4 of just Turok 1 will have the game, premium embossed foil retro throwback collector's box, an official soundtrack CD, commemorative metal retro cartridge, so it's the N64 collector,
yeah,
as well as a 18 by 24 poster,
and some pogs.
You get some pogs. It didn't say pogs in there, but
I saw the image though when they announced it. I want to see Turok Evolution remade or remastered.
Evolution. See, people have a real soft spot for 1 and 2 that were on the 64.
Yeah.
So like,
but you
really
know,
cool.
seeing Turok Dinosaur Hunter on the Switch, all that makes me want is fucking Star Fox. Star Fox 64 on the Switch. I want it. Get it out there. Come on, Nintendo. What are you doing?
It wouldn't take much to shine up and port the 3DS version of the game. Apparently, also available right now for limited run, you could get a copy of Quake, the original.
Yeah,
Quake,
I did. I saw that.
For PS4. And so like, I really love limited run games. Since
I need to look into them more often because that's really cool.
Like just check up on them, because sometimes like they have some stuff that's really neat and stands out that like you want. They give those games that don't always have a physical release some love. And they're if you're gonna get them, you got to get them. You have to go and order them because they go quick.
Yeah.
And because I remember when they first started, I thought it was really cool, and I wanted a few things. I've only ever ordered one game from them, and that was the re-release of come on, Brando, it's that old Sega CD game, Night Trap. Yep, got Night Trap. So that's about all I got.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to some. I got some games that I'm going to play coming up. I know here in October, or towards the end of October, we got Age of Empires 4 coming out.
Oh, that's right. That is coming out.
Which I am a filthy casual at Age of Empires. I do not care much about being a professional Age of Empires player. I just really enjoy the skirmishing and having fun aspect of it. Next month after that, we have Jurassic World Evolution 2, another RTS. Mm-hmm. Jurassic Park Simulator.
Yep.
It's just supposed to also tie into the movie, the next Jurassic World movie, just like the last game did. And then coming up after that on December 8th, I believe, December 9th or 8th, Halo Infinite. So that's the big one.
Yeah, there's that one right near the end of the year. This isn't a new game, but it's the PS5 version. I think I'm officially going to dive in and get Death Stranding to see what all the fuss is about.
Yeah.
So it comes out a few days after my birthday, but I'm going to get it for my birthday and try to get into that and see what's going on here. Look, I know it's a weird niche game. I heard the story is really cool, and it's very Kojima. So like, and I do enjoy my Kojima. I enjoy games that make me think, and he always makes me think, even if I'm wondering what he's thinking. But sometimes it's deeper. Sometimes it's deeper than what even I can comprehend at the moment.
As we were all learning through, we've both been getting real big into MGS a lot lately.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely doing the deep dive.
Yeah, we'll see. And that's the thing is, like, I would love to do a deep dive on Metal Gear Solid here on the show, like I've been doing for some of these other ones. But I feel like so many other people have done it better than I could. You know, it's like anything that I would be saying would be just regurgitating things that they have said, because it's some of the things that they have said have kind of opened my mind to different the ways of looking at the story, where it's like, here's the story, it's cool, yeah, it's cool. Then you're like, okay, now think about it, that same thing, but add in this motif. You're like, oh, no way. And yeah, it's been there the whole time, and you just haven't really thought about it. Like, man, that's cool. So I want to see what all the hype is up with Death Stranding. I know he's pretty excited to release it on PS5. There's some new content coming out with that. And I waited. I almost picked it up a few Black Fridays ago, whatever it was. I've had a chance to get it when it was $30. I had a chance to get it when it was $20. I keep telling myself, yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it someday. Well, no, I'm actually gonna. Now that's on the PS5. I'm kind of glad I didn't pick it up then, because I'll get to have some extra graphical fidelity, play it in 60 frames, and you'll see what this is going about. Because I mean, it's got a lot of good people in it, man. It's got a Mads Mikkelsen, whatever.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen. Is he really mad?
I don't know. He seems pretty chill and everything I see him in. Well, even when he's a bad guy, he's pretty chill.
Yeah. Well, he seems to be the bad guy of this one, just like he's going to be in the new Fantastic Beasts, unfortunately. No, not unfortunately for him.
Fortunately, unfortunately.
Yes, it's like I'm not mad for him, but I'm mad about the situation.
I'm mad about the situation.
I just heard my kids high chair get like brrr, like, and it literally, like, it took me by surprise for a second. I'm like, what was that? Was that like it was almost like a really loud ripped fart. So anyways, guys, that's all I got.
That's all I got.
Thank you for joining me, Dick. It's been fun.
Hey, it's no problem. As soon as you hit me up, I was like, I could do that. I could go on Game Addicts and do an episode. Well, I'm not doing anything.
Well, it's been a while since we podcasted. We haven't done Rank 'Em All, even though we are slated to do one hopefully here soon.
Yeah.
So we haven't had a chance to do that. And most of the games that were here, you could easily kind of just touch on. And some of them are even ones you've actually played. I'll be darned.
I'm super excited. I'm super excited for the games that were announced. I mean, I was completely enamored with the God of War for PS4, the God of War remake. I don't know if I want to call it a remake or a reboot, because it's still a continuation, but it's just God of War.
In
Ragnarok, I don't want to say God of War because I could be talking about the very first God of War. And
God of War PS4, yeah. So God of War So like now Ragnarok is just going to be a continuation of that. I know there were some complaints about the animations being recycled, but come on.
Oh, dude. No, he's pushing the boat into the water, and it's the same exact animation from an amazing game.
Dude, like the fact that Freya is on the hunt.
How many different ways can you push a canoe into a water?
Like, he's had practice. He's had practice. But the fact that Freya's after him, and Thor's after him, and he they've definitely ruffled some feathers, and it's like he doesn't really want to fight the Norse gods. He doesn't want to get into this thing again.
He's like, God damn it.
So, but then Atreus, he's now, I want to know more about who I am, and it's going to be interesting to see how the story unfolds.
His voice matured.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see where it goes. Matured. I'm excited for Kotor to see what happens with that. And
I am
different changes.
So goddamn excited for Kotor and to see my boy Revan back.
It's going to be interesting to see if they get anybody back from the original game to reprise their rules. I know some people are no longer with us.
Who's no longer with us?
John Saigon. He's the guy that played Canderous.
Oh,
Canderous Ordo, and he also played Solidus Snake in
oh, no
2.
Shit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, dude, like I played Metal Gear 2 or Metal Gear Solid Snake, or Metal Gear Sons of Liberty first, and then I played KOTOR. I'm like, Solidus.
Hi. I know what's her name that plays Bastila. She was the voice in the announcement trailer, so
okay. Yeah,
I can't remember her name at the moment.
Jennifer Hale. She
She
also played female Commander Shepard, Fem Shep.
Yes.
She also played Naomi in Metal Gear Solid.
Jesus.
She's
Here
everywhere.
We go.
She's everywhere.
Does the guy who voices Carthanassi, who sounds exactly like Bill Paxton, who is also in Independence Day with Bill Paxton? Is he? Hopefully he's Carth again. Is he in MGS?
I know he's not in MGS, but he's in Mass Effect. He plays Caden
Okay.
in Mass Effect, which is hilarious. I used to work with a guy named Neil, and he was a
Yeah.
big Kotar and Mass Effect fan, and he hates Carson with a passion. Like I've never seen one man hate a video game character as much as
He was kind of a bitch.
dude. He hated Carf so much that he hated Caden by proxy. He's like, he's voiced by the same guy. I hate him. Like, but he's not that bad. He goes, I know he's not. I have PTSD. Every time I hear him, I want to punch him in the face.
I mean, there's also HK-47.
Oh, dude.
This game cannot be without
No,
HK-47.
it's got to be. It's got to be as great as that. Oh my, I'm the hype. I'm trying to control my hype. I'm trying to control the hype, but I'm definitely getting hyped, and it's gonna be a while, so we gotta wait. But hopefully,
just take out Manon. Just take out Manon. We don't need Manon. Pick a different planet. Pick a different planet, or expand a different planet.
we'll see. We'll see what they do, and hopefully you guys won't have to wait so long for the next episode of this show. I am working on some new stuff to bring to you very, very shortly. And once again, thank you, Dick, for joining me here on the show to talk about some PlayStation event news. It's been cool to get back with you and podcast with you again.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, we'll have to do it again sometime soon. And but before we go, why don't we let everybody know where they can find you and all the stuff that you're a part of?
Well, mostly I'm part of Rank 'Em All right now.
Yeah, there's Rank 'Em All podcast.
Check out Rank 'Em All and all those places we talked about earlier, like the YouTubes and such.
Yeah.
And you can also find me at Podcastrophe, which is kind of dead right now, but here and there I'm working on stuff. I'm finding this is the first thing I've done back in my studio. I finally got my studio back after a while. All summer it's been taken over, so I'm hopefully going to be doing a lot more stuff down here and more content coming everybody's way. So you can check out Podcastrophe on the Facebooks, on the iTunes, and the Podbeans, and the Spotifys, and Verbal, whatever that is. I signed it up for it, so it's there now. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, make sure to go check out all of his stuff, especially Rank 'Em All. I like that one.
Especially Rank 'Em All.
Yeah, Rank 'Em All is definitely a great podcast to check out and listen to, especially if you love music and rock and roll and heavy metal and all that jazz. But once again, thank you. And thank all of you for listening to this episode. You can find this podcast and all those great places that you have found us and all those great social media platforms where you can find us at Game Addicts Play on all those Facebook, Twitters, Instagrams. Trying to be a little bit more active. All this time on my hands, and I just have no drive. It's like I've lost my full confidence in myself to just sit down and talk. It's like I have no it's almost like I can sit here and do this, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm not any good at it anymore.
I know, like I've lost all my drive to do it as well, and my show is, and I get other people to come on. Like I can definitely see the zero desire to just sit here and talk to myself. I don't even have a desire to get out and talk to other people.
Right.
So, yeah, but I'm going to try to, because I have a lot of amazing people in my life that I love to converse with, and I would love to converse with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I would love to hear for all of y'all to hear me converse with. So I'm going to get out there and do it.
Awesome. Well, it's definitely been really interesting for your pubcasts, doing some podcasts there at the pub. Hopefully it gets a little cooler.
Yeah. Although what I complained about so the pub doesn't have any AC for those listening. And I was like really worried that a lot of that would get picked up in the microphones. Turns out with my noise gate plugins, you don't hear it at all. But cool. Regardless, I kind of just want to wait. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Again, you won't hopefully have to wait for the next episode of Game Addicts. And until then, I've been Player 1 Brando, and he's been Player 2 Dick. And we will check you out next time, guys. Game on. Have a good one.